Good afternoon, my YouTube channel, and thank you for tuning into this video. I've been wanting to do this video the whole week, starting from Sunday when I came back from church. So there was something that was stayed in my spirit, and that is honor. So I went back to the Bible, and reading Exodus 20, verse 12, where it speaks about when God gave the commandments to Moses to give to the children of Israel, and number 5 of the commandments, which is honor your children. I mean, children must honor their parents so that their days may be longer. That it's a promise, it's a command that has a promise attached to it. So when you do it, you kind of know what to expect, that your days will be longer and you will be prosperous in your way. So I was reminded of that this weekend when we had our state president, coming into our church, and being reminded that leaders, they are placed in position by God, and it is our responsibility, firstly as a body of Christ, to pray for our leaders, and also as children of God to respect who God placed in position, because it's all authorities, people that have authorities, they have been given those authority by God for whatever reason. And I've been meditating on that, and I was reminded of how serious my mom was in instilling that virtue and that value of honor into us and my brothers, growing up as little children. And so I was just meditating on that, and there's something that was dropped in my spirit. I was raised by a mom in a single parent home, and my mom, until she passed on, she has never said anything bad about my father. We always knew that he's a great man, and she would tell us about their love story, and tell us the things that our father appreciated and loved on each and every one of us, and how much he loved us. And I was just led into, so after my mom passed, that's when I got to know the things that actually really went on before they separated. Because when you're a child and you're growing up in a single parent home, and your parent is telling you these lovely things about your father, but he's not here, you kind of not add together of then what happened if he's such a great guy. But I understood when I was older, because when my mom passed, and now we're hearing the ugly things and the horrible things that my father used to do, and how he left my mom, I kind of felt hate towards him, until I just got upset at some point that, like, what do you want me to do? He's my dad. I can't choose not for him to be my dad. So when people are telling me not so nice things about him, what do they expect me to do? I can't not have him as my father just because he did those things. But I was led into understanding the level of wisdom that God has placed on my mother, for him not to tell us ugly things about him, because you cannot, when you are staying with one parent and that parent is saying bad things about the other parent, you are going to have some reaction, emotional reaction about that other parent, whether it's to hate them, is to do what. So thinking and reading about honor and listening to different messages about honor, I realized that it is important, me myself also as a single parent, to be careful of what I say. Because if God has commanded children to honor their father and mother, and I cannot take that blessing away from my child by talking negatively about her father. Whatever negative things that I've come to realize about him, it's between me and him, but it has nothing to do with my children. And it will be a disservice if I take that negative experience that I've had about him to my children, and in turn, in the same time, causing my children to sin, and for them missing their own blessing because of my own experience. So I thought, wow, you, because all wisdom comes from God. So God must have helped my mom on so many things, you know, because I mean, I'm becoming a woman and I'm coming into my own, and I'm learning I'm learning a lot of things, and I'm unlearning some things too. But I realize, you know, some of the things that I didn't know then, and how they're important into my life right now. So I was listening to a YouTube video teaching, and this guy was talking about honor as well, you know, the law of honor. So he goes on to say that the 10 commandments, they are listed according to their level of importance. So the first 5, they're about honoring God, and then the last section is about honoring each other. So honor is ranked number 5, and murder, thou shalt not murder, following after that, and also adultery following after that. I hope I'm not mixing them. And he says that God looks at honor serious, much more than adultery or killing somebody. He went on to say, you know, when Jacob, his sons, when he was giving out blessings, his firstborn son had went into his father's concubine, so much that because he did that, he lost his firstborn inheritance, you know, his firstborn position. That even though his secondborn and his thirdborn, they had killed the, you know, the men in that country where their sister Tamar was raped, that they got their blessing, their second you know, born blessings, and he didn't get it because he dishonored his father by going into his concubine. So I wanted to share that with you, and just to spike the thought. It has helped me, and my perspective on my position as a body of Christ, as a child of God, and when God is speaking about honor, I had a different realization, and I came back and I repented, you know, because my mouth was just you know, running wild about the person whom God has placed in position. And it's such a thin line that it start off subtle, because that's how the enemy works, and that's how the enemy starts. Things start off subtle, and before you know it, you are full blown a disobedient child, that you find reasons why you should dishonor a certain person. And honor says a lot about you rather than it says about the person that you are dishonoring. And I do not want to consider myself as someone who is dishonorable, you know, and someone who does not honor authority, who does not honor the people in positions, that I would pass it down to my children. Because when I'm talking about the state president in my house, my children are listening, and soon they would, you know, they will lose that essence of honor. So that's what was on my mind, and I would love to hear if there's any thoughts that spike while I'm sharing about honor and that you would like to share. And thanks for watching. I will see you on my next video. Until then, take care.